What if I told you that weak bones aren't your destiny? That even after a diagnosis of osteoporosis, even after losing height, even after that terrifying fear every time you step off a curb, your bones can actually get stronger? I know you've been told bone loss is just part of aging, that once it starts, all you can do is slow it down with medication and hope for the best. But what if everything you've been told is leaving out the one thing that changes everything? The truth is, there's a specific type of walking that doesn't just maintain your bones, it actually triggers new bone growth in the exact places you need it most. And no, this isn't about walking more steps or going faster. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes this walk different, why it works when everything else fails, and how women like Patricia, who at 68 was told her spine was dangerously fragile, completely transformed her bone density in ways her doctor called remarkable. Stay with me because what you're about to learn changes everything. Let me start by telling you about Margaret. She's 72, a retired teacher from Ohio, and 2 years ago she got the call that changed everything. Her doctor told her she had severe osteoporosis in her spine and hips. Her T-score was -3.2. She'd already lost 2 inches of height. Her posture had that forward curve she hated seeing in the mirror. But what terrified her most was the constant fear. Fear of slipping on her kitchen floor. Fear of reaching for something on a high shelf. Fear of playing with her grandchildren because what if one of them bumped into her? What if that was all it took to fracture her spine? Margaret started the medications her doctor prescribed. She took her calcium supplements religiously. She even tried gentle yoga, but the fear never left. In fact, it got worse. She read about the possible side effects of long-term bisphosphonate use, jaw problems, unusual fractures, and the worst part? After a year of medication, her next scan showed barely any improvement. She felt helpless, like her body was betraying her and there was nothing she could do about it. Maybe you know exactly how Margaret felt. Maybe you've gotten that diagnosis, seen those numbers, felt that sinking feeling in your stomach, or maybe you haven't been officially diagnosed yet, but you've noticed things. Your posture isn't what it used to be. You've lost a little height. Your back aches in ways it never did before. And there's this nagging worry in the back of your mind every single day. Will today be the day I fall? Will a simple stumble be the thing that fractures my hip, that puts me in the hospital, that changes my life forever? And here's what makes it even harder. Everyone tells you to exercise for your bones. But which exercises? You've heard weight-bearing activity, but what does that actually mean? Is walking enough? Is it too much? What if you exercise wrong and make things worse? The uncertainty is paralyzing. So maybe you end up doing nothing or doing very little because you're just not sure what's safe. The chronic back pain doesn't help either. Those small compression fractures in your vertebrae that you might not even know you have. They make everything hurt. Getting out of bed, sitting for too long, standing for too long. It's exhausting. And in just a moment, I'll show you exactly why most people never fix this and why the solution is simpler than you ever imagined. So what are most people getting wrong? First, there's this massive myth that once you have osteoporosis, the best you can do is prevent further damage. That bone loss is a one-way street. But here's the truth. Your bones are living tissue. They're constantly breaking down and rebuilding, even at 60, 70, 80 years old. The question isn't whether your bones can get stronger, it's whether you're sending them the right signals to build new bone. Second myth, that gentle, low-impact exercise is what you need. This is where it gets counterintuitive. Yes, you need to be smart and safe, but your bones actually need stress to grow stronger. Not joint-damaging stress, but specific mechanical loading that tells your body, I need stronger bones here. Gentle walking on flat ground doesn't provide that signal. Neither does swimming or cycling, even though they're wonderful for other things. Here's what researchers have discovered. Bone responds to impact and resistance. When you create the right kind of force through your skeleton, special cells called osteoblasts spring into action and start building new bone tissue. But it has to be the right kind of force, applied consistently, in a way that's safe for someone with compromised bone density. So what actually works? This is where everything changes. The solution is something called impact walking, but done in a very specific way. And before you worry, no, this isn't about jogging or anything that feels risky. Let me break down exactly what makes this different. First, it's about the surface. Walking on varied terrain, especially surfaces with slight inclines and natural resistance, creates more bone-building stimulus than flat, even pavement. Think grass, gentle hills, nature trails, even textured surfaces. Each slight variation makes your muscles and bones work differently, creating the micro-impacts that signal your body to strengthen. Second, it's about deliberate heel strikes, not pounding, but purposeful. With each step, you're creating a small, controlled impact that travels up through your heel, through your leg bones, into your hips and spine. This is exactly the stimulus your bones need. Studies show that this type of impact can increase bone mineral density in the hip and spine by 1 to 3% per year in postmenopausal women. That might not sound like much, but that's the difference between bones that keep deteriorating and bones that actually get stronger. Third, you add what I call micro-intervals. Every few minutes during your walk, you add 30 seconds of slightly faster walking or walking on your toes, then back to normal. These brief increases in intensity create additional loading without exhausting you or putting you at risk. They wake up different muscle groups and create different angles of force through your bones. Quick note, if you want all of this laid out for you step by step, I put together a complete guide called the Bone Rebuilding Walk Method for Women Over 60. Everything you need in one place. Check the pinned comment below and grab it. Fourth, and this is crucial, you incorporate directional changes. Walking in straight lines is fine, but adding gentle zigzags, figure eights, or simply changing direction stimulates your bones from multiple angles. Think about it. In real life, you're not just walking forward. You're turning, pivoting, adjusting. Your bones need to be strong in all directions, and directional walking prepares them for that. Fifth, you build up gradually with something called progressive overload. You start with just 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Then you slowly increase either the time, the terrain difficulty, or the number of micro-intervals. This gradual progression is what allows your bones to adapt and strengthen without injury. Let me tell you about Diane. She's 66, from Pennsylvania. After her osteopenia diagnosis, she started doing this exact type of walking. She began on a local park trail, just 10 minutes 3 times a week, focusing on purposeful heel strikes and 1 or 2 30-second faster intervals. Within 3 months, her chronic back pain had decreased noticeably. She felt steadier on her feet. By 6 months, she was walking 25 minutes 4 times a week, adding small hills to her route. Her 1-year DEXA scan showed a 2.1% increase in her hip bone density and 1.8% in her lumbar spine. Her doctor was genuinely surprised. But more than the numbers, Diane told me she'd gotten her confidence back. She wasn't afraid anymore. Now, why does this work when other approaches don't? It comes down to something called Wolff's Law. Your bones adapt to the loads placed upon them. When you create consistent, progressive mechanical loading in multiple directions, your bones respond by becoming denser and stronger in exactly those areas. The impact from each heel strike creates tiny amounts of stress that stimulate bone formation. The varied terrain and directional changes ensure you're strengthening your entire skeletal system, not just one area. And the progressive nature of it means you're always giving your bones a reason to keep adapting and building. One more thing that makes this powerful. This type of walking also builds the muscles around your bones. Strong muscles protect your skeleton and improve balance, which dramatically reduces your fall risk. So you're not just building stronger bones, you're making yourself more stable and less likely to fall in the first place. So how do you apply this starting today? Let me give you 5 specific steps. Step 1. Choose your walking surface. Find a local park, nature trail, or even a grassy area where the ground isn't perfectly flat. If you don't have access to trails, walk on grass instead of concrete, or find a route with gentle slopes. I know you might be thinking, what if uneven ground makes me more likely to trip? Start with very gentle terrain. Walk during daylight. Wear supportive shoes with good traction. Your body will adapt quickly, and the benefit to your bones is worth it. Step 2. Practice your heel strike technique. Stand still and practice lifting one foot and deliberately placing your heel down first with a controlled, purposeful motion. Not a stomp, just firm contact. Once that feels natural, start your walk and focus on that same heel-first contact with each step. Let the impact travel up through your leg. You should feel engaged and alive, not painful. Step 3. Add your micro-intervals. Set a timer on your phone. After every 3 to 5 minutes of normal walking, do 30 seconds of slightly brisker walking or walking on your toes. Just 30 seconds. Then back to your normal pace. Start with 2 or 3 of these in a single walk. You might worry this is too much impact, but remember, you're building up gradually. Your bones need this stimulus. Step 4. Incorporate direction changes. Every couple of minutes, add a gentle zigzag or simply turn around and walk backwards for a few steps if it feels safe, or walk in a large figure 8 pattern. These variations challenge your balance and load your bones from different angles. Step 5. Track your progress and build gradually. Start with 10 minutes 3 days a week for the first 2 weeks. Then increase by just 2 to 3 minutes each week until you reach 25 to 30 minutes. Or add a slightly more challenging terrain. Or add one more micro-interval. Just one small progression at a time. Consistency matters more than intensity. Let me tell you about Ruth, 69, from Colorado. She started this walking method after years of being terrified of exercise with her osteoporosis. Within 8 weeks, she noticed she could stand up straighter without pain. By 4 months, she'd walked a 5K charity event, something she never thought she'd do again. Her DEXA scan at 1 year showed improvement her doctor called exceptional for someone her age. Now, I want you to think about 2 different futures. In the first future, nothing changes. The fear stays with you. Every step on stairs, every icy sidewalk, every moment with your grandchildren carries that whisper of worry. Your back pain continues. Your posture gets worse. You lose another inch of height. Maybe you avoid activities you love because what if you fall? Maybe that fall happens anyway, and suddenly you're in the hospital with a hip fracture, facing surgery, rehab, and a long, uncertain recovery. Your independence slips away, bit by bit, year by year. But there's another future, one where you take what you've learned today and you start, just 10 minutes, just 3 days a week. And in that future, something shifts. Your bones start getting the signals they've been desperately waiting for. New bone tissue forms. Your density improves. That chronic ache in your back eases. You stand taller. You feel steadier. The fear that's been following you around starts to fade because you know you're doing something real, something powerful. You play with your grandchildren without holding back. You travel without worry. You live without that constant shadow of what if. You don't have to accept weak bones as your destiny. You don't have to live in fear of fractures. You don't have to watch your independence slip away. Your bones are alive, and they're waiting for the right signal to grow stronger. Everything I just shared and more is waiting for you right now in the pinned comment below. Click it. Get the complete guide. Because you deserve to walk through this world with confidence, strength, and freedom from fear. Don't wait. Your bones are ready to rebuild. The question is, are you ready to show them how? I believe you are. And I'm here with you every step of the way.